G'day brothers and sisters, welcome to my video going over the heavy bolt rifle for update 7 and its perks. This is for patch 7, as I mentioned. Patch 7, as the time of this video coming out, it is literally around the corner. It is coming out in the next 24 hours on the 15th of April 2025. If you haven't already played and leveled the heavy bolt rifle, well, I think it's time you gave this gun a serious playtest, especially with its new scoped variant we're going to be getting. If you are familiar with this gun, this video could be very helpful to you, as I will also be going over the new perks it's getting, and I would definitely love to hear your thoughts and feedback on what I have suggested if you are very experienced with the gun, or even just your immediate thoughts if you are looking forward to playing with this gun and what you think of it. But without further ado, brothers and sisters, let's get into it, hey? Update 7 not only brings with it a revitalized perk tree for this gun, it also brings with a new variant of the gun, like I said already, the scoped variant. Awesome. It is really fun, this scoped variant. I've been really loving it, especially against the Chaos, because it's very easy to get the headshots on them in comparison to the Tyranids. The weapon has a lot of damage and also a slight increase with the amount of the magazine we get. We'll get an extra full magazine, and we also got like I think a 0.5% damage increase. But it's the perk tree that is changed significantly to make this a really powerful damage dealing weapon that will allow you to play a bit more of a long range support for your team. As I'll show you though real shortly, the tactical was already really good with update 7, but now we get ourselves a different kind of gun almost that we get to really enjoy being a long range, like I said, a long range support member of the team. Similar to having a heavy bolt rifle, this allows your team to not have to worry about that. I think it's a really good option, and I think it's going to be a really good gun, especially in horde mode when we get that. So what are the new perks that we get, and what is the difference that we're going to find when we're using those perks in terms of the damage, everything like that? I'm now going to go over them. I'm going to start with first the top row. The first 4 perks along the top row remain the same. It's when we get to the 5th one that we find our first change. It moves from being fast regeneration, which I felt was a very useless perk. I've said it before in other videos. 0.5 seconds faster to get your armor segments restored is actually just not helpful, and I feel like the devs have really understood that as well, and they've removed that and given us an extra 10% more headshot damage there. We keep moving across there. We now have tactical precision, which is actually available on a few other bolt guns, but now headshots are going to deal 20% more damage, while non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Similar to other bolt weapons, the armor restoration, like I said, has also been removed. So now we're going to get it moved into just one perk. It's called recruitment. Now this actually exists on a few of the other bolt weapons I've talked about in other videos, but every time we kill a Majoris, instead we're now with a headshot, we're going to get an armor segment back as well. So that's really helpful, because obviously when we kill Majoris without doing an execute, we were already getting our ammo back, but we can also now, if we can't actually execute them, we're going to get that armor segment back as well, but it's going to reward us for doing headshots instead of just killing them. So awesome little perk, because it now removes that 2 perks and puts them into one, and actually a much better way to get the armor segment back. Then everything stays the same until we get to the end, which is basically now Divine Might, which we've seen in many other guns. This replaces the Chaos Eliminator perk, which was a 10%, you guessed it, Chaos, but is now having just a 10% overall damage increase. Nothing exciting, but I still guess it's an improvement, especially when you compound it with all the bonus damage we are already getting. All right, let's move on to the bottom row. First 2 perks are here exactly the same. Third perk is where we see our first change. We start getting cleaving fire. It's not really that it's a change, it's a swap of the location of it, but it's a change in the sense that we're actually going to get 2 of these now. So we're going to be able to do 50% of the usual damage when they're in blocking stance. Now I'm a bit unsure what blocking stance is. As the time I'm doing this video, I have not looked into what usual damage exactly means when they're in blocking stance. Does it mean 50% of the base damage, or is it 50% of the modified damage say headshot damage? If I'm doing all my bonuses for my headshot damage, am I getting 50% of that damage, or is it purely the base firepower damage of the weapon when shooting various units? So based on all their factors of their armor and all that sort of stuff. Love to hear what that is in the comments if you do know the answer to that, or link to the focus forums. I've not looked it up, like I said. Certainly love to hear your thoughts there in the comments about that. The next one, again, this one isn't one that we haven't already had with this perk tree, but it's actually one that we're going to see have twice, once here and then right again at the end. I like this move away from the weapon spread reduction in 2 perks and giving us something significantly more useful, more damage. This perk will now give us 20% more damage when enemies are shot at a distance greater than 20 meters, giving us a total of 40% more damage if we are shooting at range greater than 25 meters. Absolutely awesome. Final 2 slots are where we see the further changes. What's interesting here is that we've had 2 perks combined, like I said, into 1. So we've had, because we've had the damage, the maximum spread decrease. It was 2 perks previously, now into 1. We got 2 cleaving fire, we got 2 remote threats. So we're still getting the same reduction to our hip firing. Like I said, still pretty decent, this gun, at sort of medium or close to medium range. Gives you that flexibility, but we're still getting all that extra damage. So it's a really good series of little changes. What I also like about it here, and what's not really conveyed really easily, is that it's actually down here. So it means it's really kind of an optional one if you want to be able to have that ability to shoot from the hip. But I'll show you what I do with my perk tree very shortly. I think this gun is a really fun gun. I think they've really nailed the perk tree for this gun. Definitely would recommend it. But let's have a look at what I think, or my optimal build for this weapon is, and that's, I believe, with this one here, the Aphelion Liberation Beta variant, which is the scope variant. And what I try to do with this gun is, because what I believe this gun is really good at is the mid to long range game. We're going to be getting a whole heap of damage when we're at greater than 25 meters, which is basically considered the mid range. This gun isn't as fast as, say, the bolt carbine or the auto bolt rifle. So you're looking at that kind of mid to long range. It can, as I said many times now, it can perform at the close range, but where we need to focus, I think, is best is to focus on that mid to long range gun game, and that's what this perk tree build is all about. Again, I would love to hear in the comments your thoughts and feedback. If you think differently and you have a different point of view here and what you would do with your perk tree, again, you got to play the gun how you like to play it. This is how I like to play tactical, is more of a long range support. Now, I do enjoy close combat and I play that a lot with my Vanguard, but to be able to flick over to now tactical and play a bit more of a long range shooting game without playing heavy is actually really cool. I'm really enjoying it on the public test server, and I can't wait until it's finally out in the game. But this is the path I take. I go along the top here, take the Headhunter, then I go over here to Adamant Hunter, then fast reload, then cleaving fire, remote threat, great might, cleaving fire again, rampage, extended magazine, remote threat again, giving me twice, Headhunter, tactical precision, and that completes it. So these are all the perks I choose. So I basically go along the top, then go down towards the bottom, do a little bit of fancy stuff there in the middle, an artificer, and then just keep going all the way along to relic. So in summary, let's summarize what I'm going to get from this. So my base damage is increased by 40% when enemies are greater than 25 meters away from me. I can further increase this damage by another 25% if I kill 10 enemies in rapid succession, which, if you take with the class perk, you will also be able to get penetration. So you being able to get through multiple enemies and kill 10 at one time isn't very hard. On top of this base damage increases, headshots will also reward us with 40% more damage with an additional 25% damage if my health is below 25%. So, to round it all out, against Terminus enemies, I'm also going to get another bonus 10% of damage. That's a lot of damage. But finally, with all that damage, I can also do 50% of the usual damage when blocking, getting a slightly bigger magazine and a 10% increase to reload speed. I feel this is a great path to take, and it will allow you to be pumping out some serious amount of damage from range, as you'll be able to really drop the Majoris units very quickly, especially when you also have hit them with the Auspex scan. Well, brothers and sisters, I hope that you enjoyed this video and it has helped you to see that I think this gun has had a great series of buffs that make it a serious weapon to choose. So, will this be a weapon that's gathering dust in your armory on the battle barge, or will you be destroying the enemies in the name of the Emperor with it? Please, do let me know in the comments, and if this video was helpful to you and you enjoyed it, please do hit that like and subscribe. I would appreciate the support. Remember, brothers and sisters, courage and honor.